I traveled half the world to meet my online boyfriend. But he was an Indian scammer. Let me start by saying I was not born stupid. I did not eat glue as a child. I didn't fall for pyramid schemes. I paid my bills on time, flossed twice a day, and read all the privacy policies before clicking I agree. But then, there was him. Let's call him Alex, even though that is most definitely not his name. I met him in the most 2020s way possible, a Discord server for indie game developers. He was charming, witty, used Oxford commas correctly, and said things like, "You make my days feel warmer." He said he lived in Switzerland. Zurich, to be precise. Because of course he did. He had one of those profile pictures that made him look like the long-lost Hemsworth brother. Tousled blonde hair, wireframe glasses, a jaw that could cut glass. But not too pretty. Just pretty. Enough to be believable. We talked every day for 8 months. Voice calls, video chats, shared playlists. He even watched Bridgerton with me, for God's sake. He said his name was Alex Miller. He was 34. Software engineer. Lived alone in a modern, minimalistic flat. Showed me pictures of it. Perfect lighting. Clean kitchen. A bonsai in the background. So of course, when he said, "I think I'm falling for you," I believed him. Of course, when he said, "I want you to visit me," "I'll pay for half the ticket," I started browsing flights. Of course, when he had trouble with his bank account and couldn't send the money right now, I said, "Don't worry, I'll cover it." Because love, because connection, because I had watched way too many rom-coms and listened to too many lo-fi love playlists while imagining our life together. So I packed my suitcase. Took 2 weeks off work. Told my friends I was going on a romantic adventure. They smiled and raised their eyebrows, but nobody said anything. Not until later, anyway. The flight was brutal. 15 hours, 2 layovers, a crying baby behind, me and a man who smelled like onions in front. But I didn't care, because love was waiting on the other side. I landed in Zurich with butterflies in my stomach and a travel pillow around my neck. My phone buzzed with a message from Alex, Alenne. "Be outside in 10. Can't wait to finally see you." My hands shook. I reapplied lip gloss, smoothed my hair, practiced my smile in the reflection of the airport window. Then I waited, and waited. 10 minutes turned into 30. 30 turned into an hour. I texted him. No reply. I called him, straight to voicemail. I started pacing near arrivals, heart thudding. Maybe he was stuck in traffic. Maybe his phone died. Maybe. And this thought actually crossed my mind. He was planning something romantic. I stood there for 2 hours, until a man approached me. He was nothing like the man I'd seen on screen. He was short, maybe 5'6". He was sweating, profusely, even in the Swiss cold. And he was not blonde, not even close. This man was Indian, probably in his mid-40s, overweight, wearing a stretched-out Manchester United hoodie with a mustard stain near the collar. He smiled, a crooked, yellow-toothed smile. "Hello, Madison," he said in a thick accent. I blinked. "Sorry." He chuckled. "It's me, Alex. No. No. This had to be a joke. I looked around for cameras. Maybe this was some cruel YouTube prank. Ashton Kutcher leaping out from behind a luggage cart shouting, "You've been punked!" But no, it was just him, and his smell. He held out his hand. "I am real," he said. "Surprise." I didn't shake it. Instead, I laughed. Not a cute, flirty laugh. A loud, slightly manic laugh that made a nearby couple glance over. "You're joking," I said. "No joke," he said proudly. "Everything else was fake, but my feelings are real." Let that sink in for a moment. Everything else was fake, but my feelings are real. As if that made it okay. As if catfishing me across international borders was just a quirky part of his love language. I thought you'd be happy, he said. Many girls would love this. You are lucky woman. I opened my mouth to respond, but found that language had momentarily abandoned me. My tongue went on strike. He motioned toward the exit. I have rented a nice room. For us. Us. I wanted to scream. Instead, I just turned and walked straight to the nearest bathroom, locked myself in a stall, sat on the toilet lid, and shook. You know that feeling when your stomach drops and your skin turns cold, and you realize every decision you made in the past 6 months was one long, tragic mistake. Yeah? That. I had flown across the world, spent my savings, told everyone I knew that I was going to meet the one, and instead, I got Sanjay. I stayed in that stall for 30 minutes. When I came out, he was still there, waiting, like some glitchy NPC that wouldn't leave the spawn point. I bought you chocolates, he said, holding up a dented red box. Swiss. Very expensive. I took a deep breath. My voice was low and sharp. You lied about everything. Why would you think I'd be okay with this? He blinked. But we had real connection. I was afraid if I told the truth, you would not come. And look, you are here. Yes, I was there, in the wrong country, with the wrong man, living the wrong life. And I was furious. But here's the thing about me. When I get mad, I get methodical. You want to lie to me? You want to scam me? Then buckle up, Sanjay, because I don't get mad. I get even, and he had no idea what was coming. I did not cry, not in front of him. Later, yes, alone in a hotel bathtub, surrounded by overpriced minibar snacks and towels folded into origami swans. I sobbed like someone had run over my dreams with a truck. But in that airport, facing the man who had lied to me for months, who had convinced me to fly across the planet and meet a fantasy he had invented, I kept my spine straight. He followed me, like a fly buzzing around a pile of mistakes. I know this is shock, he said gently, as if he were comforting me for his betrayal. But we can make this work. I will show you how much I care. I turned and gave him a look that could peel paint. We are not going anywhere together, I said, and I'm reporting you. He shrugged. Report for what? I did not steal. I only love. That was when I knew I was not dealing with a fool. I was dealing with a professional. He knew the loopholes, the gaps, the technicalities. He had done this before, probably many times. And I wasn't just angry anymore. I was fascinated. How many women had he tricked? How many fake names had he used? How many sob stories had he spun to get money, plane tickets, attention? I could have run. Booked the next flight home, told my friends I'd had a cultural awakening and wanted to be alone. But instead, I checked into a hotel under a fake name, sat on the bed, opened my laptop, and started digging. Because this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I found him online faster than I expected. Not as Alex Mueller, not even as Sanjay, but as Arjun Patel. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, even Reddit. Multiple profiles, all with recycled selfies, none of which looked anything like the Hemsworth-adjacent man he pretended to be with me. He ran romance consultancy services, which I later realized was code for romance scams. He sold fake photos, staged conversations, script templates for people trying to seduce foreigners online. It was like a catfish starter kit. One profile had dozens of women following him, all with captions like "My Swiss Prince" or "Love of my life." I reached out to 5 of them. 2 responded. One was from Brazil, the other from Canada. Both had sent him money. Both had never met him in person, and both still believed he was real. So I sent screenshots, chat logs, his photo, everything. One blocked me instantly. The other wrote, "I knew something was off. Thank you." She then disappeared from the internet completely. I sat back, staring at the screen. This was big. This wasn't just some loser lying to get a date. This was organized, sleazy, and probably illegal. I called the police. They listened, nodded, took notes, then shrugged. Unless I could prove financial fraud, not just emotional manipulation, they couldn't do much. So that was it. He could lie, fake a name, catfish women into buying plane tickets, and walk away clean. But what he didn't know was me. I went back to his profile. I clicked on every post, every comment, every girl. And I noticed something. He bragged a lot, a whole lot. He had posted screenshots of happy clients, testimonials from women he had supposedly helped find love, pictures of Western girls holding handwritten signs that said, "Thank you, Alex," or "Forever yours, Arjun." Only the backgrounds didn't match. In one photo, the Eiffel Tower was mirrored. In another, a girl supposedly in New York was clearly standing in front of a Toronto subway sign. Fake. 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 This man was not just a scammer. He was sloppy, which gave me an idea. If I couldn't get justice the legal way, I'd get it the internet way. Step 1. I created a burner account. New name, new email, new profile picture. A generic, believable woman from the Midwest. Blonde, sweet. Definitely the type he'd go after. Step 2. I slid into his DMs. He took the bait in under an hour. "Hi, Madison." Or should I say Emily now? That was his first message. He was onto me, or so he thought. But I wasn't playing Madison anymore. I was Tenley now. Yes, like from a Hallmark movie. And Tenley was dumber than a bag of doorknobs. She believed in love at first click. She used excessive exclamation marks, and she had just inherited a small fortune from her Mimi. Sanjay took the bait again. Hook, line, sleazeball. He tried the exact same script. "You have such kind eyes. I've never met someone who understands me like you do. You make my lonely world feel full." I pretended to swoon. "I feel the same. I've never been in love like this. You're so real and deep and gentle." He asked to video chat. I said my camera was broken. He asked for money for a gift he wanted to send me. I said my account was frozen, but I could visit instead. That's when he paused. He said he didn't want me flying in. Said he was dealing with a personal tragedy. Said he had been burned before. The irony nearly sent me into orbit. But Tenley was persistent. She sent long love letters, photoshopped pictures of her in romantic settings, and finally, a message. "I bought the ticket. I'll be there on Friday." He freaked, said not to come, begged even. That's when I revealed my hand. One email, one link. A blog post titled, "The Swiss Prince Scam, How One Man Faked Love for Profit." Screenshots. Testimonies. Side-by-sides of fake and real photos. Bank requests. Voice recordings. And at the bottom, his real name. Arjun Patel. His real city. His parents' business. Which, by the way, ran a wedding catering service. Poetic, right? He called me 23 times in 1 hour. Then left a voice message. "You think you are smart, but this is big mistake. I have connections." I saved that too. Then I posted the blog everywhere. Reddit, Facebook groups, Twitter, exposing romance, scammers forums. It spread like wildfire, especially after I shared it in the same Discord server where we had met. Guess what? He was still active there, pretending to be a new German developer this time. But when people read the blog, they connected the dots. He was banned, blocked, reported, His account started vanishing. But mine exploded. The post went viral. Women started messaging me from everywhere: Poland, Brazil, Kenya, Australia. Each had their own version of Alex, or Arjun, or Diego from Madrid. Some had sent money. Some had sent nudes. Some had just wasted years of emotional labor. Together, we created a database, a list of aliases, fake accounts, photos, scripts. We called it the Scam Map, and people loved it. We got covered by a few small online news sites. One even offered me a podcast deal. Sanjay, or Arjun, or whatever name he was using now, went dark, but not before one final email. "You destroyed my business," it read. "You are evil. No man will ever love you." I smiled when I read that. Because if a scammer hates you, you're doing something right. So, yes. I traveled across the world for love, and yes, I got catfished by an overweight middle-aged scammer from India in a stained hoodie. But I also exposed a criminal network, started a movement, saved hundreds of women from falling for the same trap. And as for me, let's just say I finally found someone real. But that's a story for part 3. And trust me, it's worth the wait. I had exposed him. His fake profiles were deleted. His network was crumbling. But I wasn't done. Not yet. Because while I had burned his online empire to the ground, I wanted to make sure he felt the heat in real life. So I did what any scorned woman with a Wi-Fi connection and a thirst for justice would do. I went deeper. I started by contacting his clients. Yes, clients. Turns out, Sanjay, or Arjun, or whatever, name he was using that week, wasn't just scamming women for love. He was teaching others how to do it too. He sold romance packages to aspiring scammers, scripts, photos, even fake video calls, all for a price. I found his payment processor, a shady little site based in a country I couldn't pronounce. I reported it. Then I found his bank. Sent them a detailed report of his activities. With evidence, they froze his accounts. But I wasn't satisfied. Wanted to see him squirm. So I created a new persona, a journalist. From a major publication, I reached out to him for an interview. Said I was doing a piece on digital love in the modern age. He agreed. Of course he did. Narcissists love attention. We set up a video call. He appeared on screen, trying to look suave, but the bags under his eyes betrayed him. "Hello, Madison," he said. I smiled. "Actually, it's Emily now." His face paled. I leaned in. "Smile for the camera. You're live." He panicked. Tried to end the call, but I had already recorded everything. I posted the video. It went viral. Millions watched as he stammered, lied, and finally admitted to his schemes. He became infamous. A cautionary tale. His face was everywhere. Memes, news articles, even a documentary. He couldn't hide anymore. But the final blow? That came from his own family. I had sent them the video. His mother called him a disgrace. His father disowned him. He lost everything. And me? I moved on. Stronger. Wiser. And with a story that would make even the most seasoned Redditor gasp. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Remember, always trust your instincts and never underestimate the power of a woman scorned.